Hey everyone, it's Greg here from Bell's Backyard. In this video we're covering cucumbers, problems, and solutions. And these problems that we're going to discuss are the ones that you actually sent me on the last video that we did. We're going to cover yellowing flowers, we're going to cover flowers dropping off, not producing fruit, earwigs, cucumber beetles, and then for your newer viewers and then the newer gardeners that are out there, we're going to cover neem, BT, how to use it. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to give you a little tip on how you can be successful and how to determine when to plant the crops at the right time. So let's go ahead and get right back to work. All right, the first question that I got was from Pamela, and Pamela wrote, my cucumbers turning yellow, what could that be? Well, Pamela, that could be a couple things. One, water. If they're not getting 1 to 2 inches of water a week, or they're getting more than that or less than that, it has a tendency to cause the fruit to go yellow on you. Number two, it could actually be the nutrients into the soil. Now, I know a lot of people use a slow release fertilizer at the beginning of their planting and they think, hey, I'm all set because it's going to be good for 6 to 9 months. Truth be told, when those things start producing flowers, they get incredibly hungry. So what you want to do is augment it just right at that time, where you're going to go ahead and put some around the base of the plant itself. You want to go ahead and get something, it doesn't have to be high in nitrogen, but something that's like a 3-4-4. I'll show you a picture of what that looks like, the fertilizer that I use, and that helps. Another reason it could be is the micronutrients that are in there. Magnesium is one of the things that you can introduce into the soil, because the magnesium actually helps the uptake of the nutrients and to produce that chlorophyll and give it that green color. Let's look at another reason. Could be the fact that they've just been on the vine too long. So you want to pick your fruit just as soon as it starts to look like you want it to, or it's just about ready to turn green. That's when you want to go ahead and pull it. If you let it go a little bit too long, then it's actually going to turn yellow on you. Now, one of the tricks that I do, it's one of these things here. I ordered these on Amazon, and this is just a garden marker. And what I'll do as soon as I plant, because either I'm old, forgetful, or what, I'll forget exactly how big that plant's going to be or what I planted. So for this particular instance, I had a cucumber. It was a Space Master. It was supposed to come in 15 June. So the 15th of June I wrote down on here. And then the one thing that I do also is I'll put down the size of that fruit. If it's a bean, if it's a cucumber, if it's something that's going to be long and I'm looking for a specific size, if it's okra like these things back here, then yeah, I'll write down the size of it. So as soon as it hits that, for this one, a Space Master, if it's 6 or 7 inches, then I'll go ahead and pick it right then. So that's I hope that helped, Pamela. That's one of the many reasons why they could be turning yellow on you. One thing you can also do is call your local growers and say, hey, are we having any problems with any type of viruses? Generally, it's going to be those others that we talked about, but sometimes they'll say, yes, there's a particular virus in your area, and then that will cause the plant or the cucumber to turn yellow. But usually when there's a virus, the entire plant starts to wilt, starts to show some type of stress. So Pamela, I hope that helped. Now let's go on to the second question. All right, Tom up in Central Michigan wrote to me and says, for the past 2 years, I've been trying to grow cucumbers in my gardens. Both years they've grown beautifully, green leaves, many blossoms. Then they all dried up and died, fell off of the plant. Thought it was the soil. This year I planted a bush cucumber plant in an 18-inch pot with potting soil, and I didn't add any soil from the garden and he planted it on his deck. And again, beautiful plants, healthy leaves and blossoms, and again, they all wilted and died. I'm at a loss. Your help would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so me and Tom went back and forth. We had a few questions that we had to get answered before it could kind of come down to what the idea may be that's causing that to happen. So Tom is using a potting mix. I think it was what's he using? A Master Gardener Premium Potting Mix is what he wrote back to me. Now, on that label, it does say that it has a 9-month slow release fertilizer, and just like I told Pamela, sometimes that's just not enough for that plant to produce the fruit. Now, Tom, what you're going to see first, and also for all you beginning gardeners out there, when your plant starts to grow, you're going to see the male flowers will come out first, and that's an indication to all the pollinators that are out there. Is like, hey, here's where my daily meal could be. And then as the pollinators start getting there and start coming in every day, then it's going to start to produce your female flowers. For those of you who don't know, the male flower doesn't have the fruit behind it. It's just a little stem with the flower on the very end of it. The female flower is going to show a small little baby cucumber, and then it's going to have the flower right on top of that. One thing that you can do a lot of times, the other reason, It's just not getting pollinated. This one has to be mechanically pollinated, either naturally through bees, or it's going to have to be pollinated by you. So try doing this next time, Tom. Take a look and see if there's anything that's out there that's actually flying to those leaves and those flowers, seeing if it's getting pollinated. If not, you can use a Q-tip from your bathroom, or you can go out and get a small paintbrush, and then you just take that paintbrush or that Q-tip and put it inside of that male flower, spin it around just a couple times, then move it over to the female flower, and then also do the same thing. That's going to transfer the pollen, and it should get you some healthy growth that's in there. Okay, now let's take a look at it. Tom, I did call. I checked on viruses up in your area, up in central Michigan, some growers up there. They really didn't see this any, so I'm thinking it's going to be the first two that we talked about. The other thing is, since you just wrote in, I doubt this is going to be the case, but also if it gets too cold or too hot, we also get a flower drop. So keep that in mind too. He didn't have, and you didn't have any bugs or beetles or anything like that that's in there, so I'm leaning towards what the first, either being the fertilizer. Well, actually I do. I think it's going to be the fertilizer that's going to be on there. All right, so let's go on to the third one, and I really enjoyed this one. This is going to be fun. Okay, Chris sent me a response, and so did a lot of you, that said thumbs up on your last video. For those of you who didn't see it, that's also a Cucumber Problems and Solutions. It was the first one we did for this year, and we got a lot of responses back, and that's the reason why we're doing this. That video is going to be tagged on the end of this video, so just click on it and you can see those other problems that you may be experiencing too. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. That way you can see anything that keeps popping up or any videos that we keep producing. Also, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down in the section below. We'll try to get to as many of the comments as we possibly can. But Chris, man, you got to be from down south, because it says thumbs up. My issue is the cucumber beetle. They done ate all my leaves, and I hear that they mate like crazy and leave their eggs in the soil next to the stem. You're absolutely correct. Now I gotta get this mosquito off of me, but you're absolutely correct. They do exactly that. So you can do a couple things with that, Chris. One is plant some beneficial plants next to your cucumbers. There's some that actually attract your predatory insects, like your ladybugs. Some things like I use black-eyed peas, which I've got growing over here, but any of your pea family has a tendency to attract your ladybugs, and those will actually help eat those beetle larvae. Another thing that you can do is you can take a piece of aluminum foil as the plant starts to grow, and like you said, they lay their eggs and the larvae comes out, and they usually feed at the base of the stem. But if you put a piece of aluminum foil at the base of the stem of that plant, for some reason the beetles don't like eating in that high reflection area that's there with a lot of sunlight, and they'll kind of leave the plants alone. Some of the other things that you can do is use a mechanical trap. And what I need is a mechanical trap for these mosquitoes. Daggum. So what you can do, and I've got another video out for this, but just a quick explanation to it. You can get a small can of what they call Tanglefoot. It's just a very, very sticky spray. The beetles are actually attracted to yellow, and you can just take a yellow solo cup, put it on a bamboo skewer, spray it with this Tanglefoot. It's very, very sticky. Put it in between like every other plant, and then it'll attract towards the beetles, and the beetles will just stick to it. Oh, and also if you want to put in, if you want to plant marigolds, tansies, anything like that, you can do research onto our website. That will actually help deter the beetles. But like we said, your companion plants like your cow peas or your black-eyed peas will actually are a good host for your predatory insects. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the comment, Chris. And let's get on to the last and probably the most responded questions that we had here, and that comes from our new gardeners. And sometimes I'll make an apology for this. Sometimes we start talking a little more in detail, and it's the newer gardeners that are going, what the heck does that mean? And I got a lot of them from you. And some of them I can't pronounce your name, so I'm sorry about that. But let's see, my leaves were yellowing. I found out they were thrips. I wasn't able to beat it. They're the worst. I tried soap, neem oil, cinnamon, peppered oil. It doesn't work. And now earwigs are invading my new plant. Okay, didn't have any earwigs this year, but I did about 3 years ago. So those work well. There's a mechanical trap that you can do with an earwig also. Now earwigs love moist environments and they really thrive in a garden that's been heavily mulched. But you can trap the earwigs by doing a couple things. One is you can take a rolled up newspaper, if you still get the newspaper at the house. I don't know who still does, but you can take newspaper, wet it, roll it up, stick it into your garden, and then at nighttime the earwigs will actually go inside of that newspaper. Then you can take it, pull it out, throw it away, and you'll get rid of your earwigs that way. Another type of mechanical trap. You can take a small Tupperware container or a small jar that you can get at the dollar store and then cut a little hole in the top of the lid, make it about 1 inch around, and then fill it with about 1/4 of an inch of oil, a vegetable oil, and you can either add some bacon grease or you put in some soy sauce, and that way they can smell it and it'll actually attract them. They'll go to that first and then they'll fall in the little hole to try to get to the oil at the bottom, and then it'll trap them that way. So that's one thing that you can do. There's some other explanations that are out there. It's like they can't travel across dry open areas and you can put like a rock moat around it, but quite frankly, who's going to do that? So that's the earwig solution. And then now let's talk, from our beginning gardeners that left all of these comments to me, let's talk neem, let's talk BT. And then at the very end here, I'm going to give the beginning gardeners a trick that not a lot of you know. Even your experienced gardeners may not know this. But let's talk neem oil, neem and BT. So neem is an oil that's extracted from the, guess what, neem tree. What it does is it has a chemical into it that disrupts the hormones inside of the animal that ingest, or the insects that ingest it. So the way that you apply this neem, it doesn't activate itself until you actually mix it. Now it's follow the instructions of what you're using. Order some neem in a concentrate. Neem's only going to be good for about 24 hours after you apply it, but the way that you're going to apply neem is you're going to spray the top of the plant and you're going to spray the bottom of the plant. Now the plant itself is going to absorb it. Now the reason why it's not harmful to all of your predatory insects like your wasps and your ladybugs is that it will absorb into the plant. The only thing that's going to get affected are those that are attacking your plant. So your aphids and your worms and your caterpillars that are attacking your plant will ingest that. It will actually stop it from reproducing and it'll kill it off that way. It's not a quick fix, but it's a safe fix. Now you can get a little bit ahead of it if you want to by doing a sacrificial plant, by putting it out just a little bit early. If you start to see that you're starting to see some aphids onto your plant, then you know it's time to treat. Now these the neem itself only lasts for about 3 or 4 days. Depending on how severe your invasion is, I usually put my neem on about once a week or so. Then also the other thing is BT. I would try to pronounce it for you, but I'm a southern boy and it's too long for me to pronounce. But with the way BT works, it's an enzyme that when ingested will actually stop the ability for to take in nutrients, and it'll kill like your beetles that are out there. I think that was you, Tom, that asked that question. But it'll kill the bug that way. Don't be afraid if it's going to hurt again, it absorbs into the plant. Don't be afraid if it's going to hurt any of your bees or any of your beneficial insects. It's not going to, and it is considered all organic. It's applied the same way. Mix it up. It's good for about 24 hours. Spray the whole plant, top, up underneath, up on the bottom to it, and then you should be good to go. Let me see what else is out there. Oh yeah, our little special thing that we wanted to talk to you about. Okay, this is for our new gardeners, and really, I'm probably not supposed to tell you this because I got some insider information. But for the beginners that are out there, if you want to know when's the right time to plant your plants for your garden, you don't want to start with seeds. You want to be able to start that right plant, and you're going to go out and you're going to buy the plants to grow your garden. You want to put in tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever that may be. Keep an eye out with your local big box stores. Now, a couple of the big box stores, I'm not going to tell you which one, but one has colored red, one is colored orange. They don't own their plants. What they do is those plants are owned by the grower. Now, it's beneficial for that grower to take a plant, that they know is going to grow, they know is going to be successful, and they know that's going to get you to come back the next season to buy that exact same plant. So if you're walking into those big box stores and you're looking at the nursery section and you're looking for those seedlings that are coming up and you wanted to start your garden, if you don't see your tomatoes, if you don't see your zucchinis, guess what? It's not time to plant it, because those guys that are the professionals out there, they know that it's not going to work. So just wait, and that garden center is going to tell you when's a good time to plant. And you may see some weird things that are out there too, like in the summertime. I just ran into some, I think it was an Ikebana eggplant. I've never seen or heard of that before, but then I did some research to it, and it happens to grow in the Florida sun down here in the Florida heat in the summertime, and it's a very successful plant. First time that I saw it, so this year I'm going to give it a shot. That's a trick though, guys. That's when it's time to plant, is when you start seeing those things showing up at your big box stores. All right, I hope this all helped. Once again, if you guys liked what you saw, or if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to try to get the answers back to you. But until then, I'm Greg from Belle's Backyard. Have a great day.